I'm going to show you how to fix your GMC jet blaster or any other brand of jet blaster. I've got other videos on how to fix cartridges. They're all very similar. There is nothing wrong with this jet blaster, but I'm going to pull it apart for you guys. Also, before you go pulling it apart, you want to check if you're actually running it properly. So connect the hose onto it, disconnect the trigger, and let it run for a minute. Make sure all the air bubbles are out of it. Then connect your hose, let it run for another 10 seconds with your trigger open. That'll get all the air out of the system, and then have a go. If it still doesn't work, then you can start pulling it apart. But also check out your trigger system. If it's blocked, you might not be getting any pressure through it. If you're not getting any pressure, undo this, undo all these. Make sure you're getting a clean flush through here. That could be an issue. Most likely not. So, anyways, chucking that aside, we're going to rip apart this GMC. Alright, you got screws on the back. Here, some deep ones here, and some really deep ones down here. You'll need a long screwdriver for this. This one just managed to reach them. Now, I've already sped up the process by undoing them, so I'm just going to undo these top ones here. I'll put it down at an angle so you guys can see. Flip it up like this. Okay, you'll need to remove the connections. I've only got one. Now when it comes to this button here, after I'm removing those screws, the top cover lifts up, but you got to sort of lift it up in a way. Undo the back. You don't snap that, so get a little screwdriver and pop it out like so. Oops, still recording, got a message. Pop it out like so. If you like this video, eventually I'll be able to get a better video recorder to help me, so you guys can see better. Alright, after that, this comes off. Or also pressing the button, that helps. You've got 4 sets of screws there with nuts on the back. You can hold the nuts, use a screwdriver to get them off. I'm going to lay it down flat now. You guys know what I'm talking about. Four bolts are there, and there. I'm going to get it from the back. You don't need this little tiny drill, but it does speed things up. Okay, after that, you'll be able to remove the system. Make sure this is unplugged. Do not plug it in while it's removed from its casing. Do not touch any electrical. And we're going to continue. You can remove the power this from there, so you got a little bit more stretch, but I won't. I'll leave it like that. Now, this system here, I'll just make sure you guys have it in view. Yes, you do have it in view. I'll move it closer so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. This section here, there's pistons that go in there. I'll open it up first. You'll need to remove these 4 bolts. To remove these bolts, helps if you got a little hammer, impact drill, but you can give them a slight tap on each of them. That helps free them up. Allen key. Now it's going to be very hard to open them up, so you can get a little attachment on your Allen key and try it like that. Now, your issues are going to be pulsating or loss of pressure. Now, these are 2 things that you got to keep an eye out on. Pulsating is usually it's leaking, and the pressure gauge here is reading that you're losing pressure, so it builds pressure up again and then loses it and builds up pressure again, so you start pulsating. Now also, when removing these 4 bolts, you'll need to have this unit standing up, or else you're going to lose all the oil in there. Switch to this. Now, the pulsating and losing pressure. So if you're losing pressure, you're most likely, if you're pulsating, you're most likely losing a bit of pressure. One of these seals here might be loose, or the connection on the actual unit here could be loose. So if you're pulsating, look at that. Pulsating is not too healthy for the unit, so you should fix it. Or try to use it on it, switch it on and off by the power point so it doesn't pulsate. I did that once on my first carter and I paid the price for it, and most of it ended up wrecking for that. But these are very easy to pull apart. So you just get used to it. Oops. What? Drill's running low. Okay, it's all popped open. Now there's going to be oil and stuff in there, so be careful not to spill the unit. Take off the top and explain the top section first. This is where it controls the pressure. Once it builds up pressure in here, this unit says here, alright, it's got lots of pressure, switch the motor off so we don't burn out. Once you press the trigger, all the pressure leaves, unit realizes no pressure, builds back up. So if you have a wrecked seal on here, around there, or around there, yeah, it will lose pressure and your system will, oh, we're losing pressure, and keep turning back on. So that's the pulsating issue. You'll also want to remove the pressure gauge on the side, the black unit, and clean out the hole from the top of the head to the pressure gauge. Make sure that's all nice and clean, because if it's blocked, you might get a few issues there. Losing pressure. Pop that open. Losing pressure. These seals here help create a lot of the power. Think of them as piston rings on your pistons. Once the rings are gone, the engine has no compression and therefore no power. These seals here are like that. Now you can inspect them by pulling them out and seeing if there's any cracks in them. Usually they're broken or they're cracked. If they are, just replace them. If your dealer or online place that you're buying them from doesn't sell this alone, with Karcher they come all as a plastic unit. These are much better than Karcher, all alloy and stronger. The Karcher ones are made out of plastic, and the actual units here crack. Very tiny cracks that you can't actually see from the naked eye, so they have lots of pulsating issue problems. This GMC, it's a shame GMC went bankrupt, or going backwards, because I mean, this is quality here. I mean, full alloy. Karcher's gone with the plastic. They go with the plastics so it doesn't rust and stuff, but this don't look rusted to me. So anyways, replace the seals. That'll fix your power issue. Now if your actual motor's not working, that's a different issue. You'll need to pull the motor out. I won't get to that today. You need to pull the motor out and get to the bushings on the outside. Or if the motor's fried, you might as well just throw it in the bin. But with power issues, with actually using the trigger seals here for the power, also if the seals are torn here, you could be also getting the pulsating issue. Remember, this is all filled with oil, so don't put it on the side, you'll make a mess. Now, putting it all back together, clean out all these with a piece of paper, make sure it's all clean. Seals as well, make sure all of them are good. Tighten it on very tight back with the Allen keys, not tight enough so you can snap the thread, but tight. So before you also put it all back into the unit, you want to flip the unit this upside down when the bolts are tight. As you can see, this is actually raised, so what you'll need to do is, you can only put these on one way as well, so don't worry about putting it together, it's all very simple. Okay, and see how there's that big gap? Once you put the bolts in there, you tighten that one down just a little bit, put one more, tighten that one, that one, that one, that one, and it'll all eventually just compress back in. Now, once you've done that, flip the unit upside down, leave it for 5 minutes, make sure all the areas here are clean, make sure there's no oil leaking for any of them, tighten it all back up, then you're good to go. Now, if you want to change the oil, or you've lost your oil for some strange reason, compressor oil from compressors that you can buy.